let's talk about the Olympics. I know that's, the qualifiers is just about, you have 3 events, right? Basically the majors to get into Paris this year. Now you got to play in Tokyo, and I heard in an interview somewhere about how much that meant to you to be able to play for Australia. You played with Leash. We'll talk about the uniforms maybe in just a little bit. But how much does that mean to you, and what's your mindset for the next 3 qualifiers?
I mean, I don't want to put too much pressure on myself by saying I have to go out there and do something. I think for myself, I've always kind of been a process type of person, and I feel like if I do the work, the results will come. So just trying to do my own thing without kind of trying to think about it, I think is the best way to go about it. But it does kind of suck to only have 3 events basically. It's somewhere where I desperately want to be, and I think being Australian and we represent our country every week out here, I feel like, but there's something about wearing those coat of arms that's pretty special to everyone's hearts. So there's only a certain amount of people that get to do it, and loved it in Japan. It was the COVID Olympics then, so we didn't quite get the whole experience. I'd love to go there and go out and watch some track and field and watch some swimming or whatever's on really, and support the Aussies. So yeah, I desperately want to get back there.
You did get to, though, essentially represent your country playing in the President's Cup and the international team at home in Australia, well, Royal Melbourne.
Yeah.
And you played well. You did, what were you, 1-1-1, beating Justin Thomas in singles. That was basically, in my lifetime, probably the biggest event to hit Australia, even bigger than the previous President's Cup because of the Australians who were playing, most notably you. What was that atmosphere like from your experience?
It was crazy. We had an awesome week that week. It was Ernie was our captain. He was a great captain. He kind of led us along the way, and kind of almost had we were playing under a new logo that week, and a new badge that he created, and I guess kind of because our record hadn't been that great, I guess it gave everyone a fresh look on what the President's Cup can be, and it really gave us a nice little boost at the start of the week there, and we came so close to winning it. It would have been awesome, awesome to win.
Yeah, you mentioned your process. I spoke to a few of the people on your team who have worked with you and work with you all the time, and they say you're very much a process person. You can't really tell all your emotions from the outside, but yet you feel them, and yet you embrace them, and that is one of the hardest things to do, I think, when you're under pressure. How do you work on that, and what makes you so good in that situation?
I think first and foremost, being in the situation a lot definitely helps. It's not an easy thing to do, particularly as a rookie trying to earn their card or whatever, and then all of a sudden you have a shot at a win. It's very difficult. I think being in those situations over time definitely helps, and you just get better at handling those emotions. And back to the process thing, I think for me, I've always thought to myself that I've done the work enough to win, rather than putting the pressure on myself to go out there and win. I think it's always been I've done the work, I'm so prepared, there's no reason why I can't win this, rather than I have to win this. So I think there's a lot of stuff that I think about that is maybe a little bit different to what other guys do.
When you're tearing it up on the back 9 of the Open Championship 2022 and just basically making everything, it felt like, was that what you were telling yourself at the time? That I'm ready for this?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd played well at the start of that season. I went through a little bit of a lull after the Players win there, and just had my team out, just kept working hard, and played well the weekend before that, and I knew some good stuff was in the works, and just kept telling myself I'm ready. I'd been close to a few majors before, and there was no reason why I couldn't win one. I just kind of had to do it.
It was such a biased crowd out there, though. I mean, they're great golf fans in the UK, period. but it was such a biased crowd for Rory. It was.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything quite like that, actually. So, I mean, did you feed off that at all? They weren't rude to you, but I mean, the entire continent wanted Rory to win.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't lean too much into it. I think it would have been easy to get caught up in that for sure, but you know, a thing I guess St Andrews has going for it is the fairways are so wide there, so I was able to get over the other side of the fairway and kind of not listen to them. But yeah, it was definitely something that was in my mind, but I just tried not to really get caught up into it.
Yeah.
It was nice proving a couple of people wrong though in the crowd, don't get me wrong.
It's still nice doing that, I imagine.
Yeah. Well, Australia and the UK, you guys have some rivalries in so many different sports. I mean, it's just that banter and the back and forth is, you know, the competition is so, it's just so good. You know, you talked about, you know, we talked about your process and how you put yourself in that position all the time. But I don't know, I don't care who you are. I think every golfer has that inner demon, that hurdle, right? What's yours?
My driver.
His words.
Yeah.
Not that we say that occasionally on the broadcast.
I guess that would be it. It's definitely not a club that I feel really uncomfortable with or anything like that. It's just a club that I've kind of always struggled to get right. It's lost me more tournaments than it's won me, for sure. And I feel like there's a lot of time where I have to kind of rely on that, on the irons and the wedges and the putting to kind of even, you know, get a top 10 or a top 15. Yeah, so it can be tough at times, and at times I want to pull my hair out and kind of start again with that club. But I know the work that we've been doing, particularly this off season, is the right stuff, and I think we saw a glimpse of that in Hong Kong. I think this week is a much harder test, and particularly with the driver. So it's good having a hard test heading into a big week like next week.
Yeah.
I've always contended that great putters are born, that a bad putter can learn to be a decent putter, maybe even a decent putter could be a good putter, but great putters are born. Anthony Kim takes a dozen years away from the game, comes back, and in a week he's putting like Cam Smith, basically. You obviously are a lucky member of that club as well. Have you excelled with the putter ever since you can remember?
I think I've always been a decent putter. I don't think I've always been a great putter. It's definitely a club that I spend a lot of time on, probably more so than others. So I'd like to think that there's that. It's weird. You see some people and they have the perfect stroke and they just can't seem to get it in the hole. I don't know. It's a weird thing, but I do spend a lot of time on it, and I think that's probably the biggest attribute to.
I think a lot of people want to know your secret.
I was just about to ask
I want to know
that.
the
Like,
secret.
what
Now,
makes you so good with that flat stick?
so many of the people I've talked to throughout my time in the game, the greater putters always kind of seem surprised that they make the putts they make. That they're not trying to make putts; they're trying to hit good putts. Whereas the bad putters are always worried about the outcome, always trying to make it.
Yeah.
What is your thought process? What's your secret?
I think that's exactly it. I think you know, particularly from 10-footed in, I feel like I've always been a really good putter, and I think a lot of that is because I'm not worried about the outcome. I'm literally just trying to hit a good putt. I read it. I like to think I'm a good reader of greens, and then just go up there and hit a good putt. There's for sure a lot of putts that surprise me in what they do, and I do miss a lot of putts that I hit good, and all of that stuff. But I think that process that I've got, you know, before hitting the ball is really good, and yeah.
Yeah, you do have a very interesting, because I do get to watch you, and you know, it's a privilege to get to watch you warm up and play and all that. But when I watch you warm up, you have a very interesting putting warm-up routine. Your eye line thing that you have on the green is different from most people. Yours have a slight curve to it. I know your path is very, it's not a straight back, straight forward type path. It's more of a U shape.
Archy. Yeah,
an arcing path. But yeah, you're definitely like a Houdini. I think you called him that.
He is.
Yeah, you're Houdini with the putter. It's just every time 20 feet, inside 20 feet.
Yeah.
It's like
well, Houdini was an escape artist, a magician. he can escape around. I mean, sometimes it's to drive a little offline by his own admission, and he's in jail. And the next thing you know, and you see that 3 or 4 times in a round, and you add it up, and it's 65. It's like, well, how the hell did he do that?
I know. You know, we said this on the broadcast. You're one of those players, if not the best player. You might not have your best, right, from tee to green, but you make the most of your round. I've never seen anyone like it. You could be last in driving, almost last in iron play. I think that was one of the events last year. You were last in those 2 stats, and you're at the top of the leaderboard. Do you ever think that? Like, I mean, honestly, like, has that ever occurred? Well, how do you?
What the hell? You sucked at ball striking, and you were playing great.
Whoa, but look, when people watch it, it's like, look.
I know, it is amazing.
It's amazing.
Is that just pure fight? Is that will?
Yeah.
What is it?
I'm going to sound crazy here, but I think where I grew up in Queensland, we're kind of the battlers of Australia, and I think that mindset has always kind of stuck with me. We've always kind of been the underdogs and stuff. So yeah, I think the willingness to win and yeah, just fighting out a good round. I've seen it too many times. I think particularly as a young pro as well, where someone starts off bad and they just kind of throw in the towel and doesn't make for a good career. That so yeah, earning every shot I think is a really big thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to highlight those things, but I'm coming from a perspective.
Now you're backtracking.
No, but I'm coming from a perspective of how awesome that is, because like you said, a lot of people, when you don't have your best from tee to green, it takes a lot of confidence out of your game. It takes a lot of confidence mentally, you know, so to be able to then grind and really fight through it.
So much easier to throw in the towel, like so many players do.
So many.
But being able to grind through it. And our format now, you can't throw in the towel.
No.
Nobody can.
No, you can't. Yeah, 54 holes. I mean, there's been plenty of times where you get off to a bit of a crappy start particularly on day one, and you look up and you're 6 or 7 shots behind the lead already, and yeah, it is very. It's easy to do that, but it's something that I pride myself on not doing. So
only 39 rounds of stroke play for the entire season. That, when you look at it like that, it puts it in perspective. Every single shot matters so much more than the previous professional golf that everybody played. Every single shot.